Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Total Truth Show. And here on the Total Truth Show, we want to help you break free from the lies and propaganda of the mainstream media, all the disinformation and misinformation. We want to help you blast through all of that. And my name is Ken Kleinberg, coming to you all the way from the USA, San Diego, California.
And I'm Aldwyn Altuney, known as the Media Queen from the Gold Coast in Australia.
There is a great awakening happening in the world right now, and you're going to want to come along for the ride.
A lot of lies are coming to the surface. There's a lot of awakening happening, and as this awakening is happening, people realize they've been deceived for years. They've been lied to for years around all sorts of things. A lot of people have been blind to what has been going on in the world, and now they're starting to see. They're starting to see things in a different light.
Through our show, we want to raise global consciousness to quantum critical mass. And we don't want you just to accept the things that we're saying. That goes for our guests as well. We want you to do the research for yourself. Get out there and start questioning things. Start looking things up. Do the research. We want to pave the way for a new awakened world. And we want you to come along for the ride. So with that, let's get started, you guys. Let's dive into today's episode. Once again, welcome.
Welcome to Total Truth Show episode 123. You see, everything is lining up. 1, 2, 3, bang, 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 coming into Year of the Fire Horse, out of the snake, into the fire horse very soon, actually, in the month. And we are going to be chatting today about sound healing, the truth about sound healing. And we have one of the best sound healers I know joining us as a guest today. We've got amazing Leith James with us in the studio, and my co-host, Ken Kleinberg. Ken, how are you going today?
I am doing amazing. And how are you?
Excellent. Couldn't be better. And a little bit about our guest before we chat with Leith today. Now, Leith James is an internationally renowned gong practitioner and sound therapist with over 15 years of experience and more than 1,000 facilitated sessions. He's the founder of Gongscape and president of the Australian Sound Healers Association, which is a national not-for-profit organisation dedicated to advancing trauma-informed sound therapy practitioner education and professional standards across Australia. He's served as the Australian representative for the Guinness World Record for the largest gong ensemble, featuring the most gong players performing together. Through immersive group meditations, corporate wellness programs, and accredited training, he's committed to making sound healing a safe, accessible, and transformative tool for emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Welcome to the show, Leith James.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Aldwyn, and great to meet you, Ken, as well.
Great to have you on the show, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Leith. Now, I'm very curious with the Guinness World Record there for the largest gong ensemble. How many people did you have playing gong for that?
Well, we had 260 people from all over the world, and you can imagine that half the people didn't speak English. So we had all these people in one room together, and we had to do this ensemble where everyone had to play at exactly the same time, and to beat this Gamelan Orchestra's record of 150 people. Now, wow. It was quite unique because we had all these countries in the one room. However, we didn't beat the world record, but we did send a giant wave of love and peace around the world.
I love that. So so it's never too late. You could put another ensemble together and see how you go next time, right? I think that's brilliant.
Well, Well, I guess it takes 3 months for Guinness to answer every question, so it took a long time. But it was great to get everyone in the room, and the atmosphere was absolutely electric, and we had this. Someone took a picture, and there was this purple hue above everyone. So I don't know what sort of energy we were projecting on that day, but in the heart of London, it was a really great space to do it.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Well, talking of records, I was actually pivotal to a Australian book of records record for the most selfies taken by a group in 3 minutes, and that was at the Business Blueprint Conference in Sydney in November. It was November 12, 2024. We did 8,770 selfies. There was 210 participants over 3 minutes. So we pitched that whole idea to Dal Beaumont, who's the founder of Business Blueprint, and we got the record for that. So we did the Australian Book of Records for that one, because the Guinness Book of Records was going to cost about $60,000 or something just to apply, and then a lot of red tape. There's a whole lot that goes into it. So we did the Australian Book of Records, and it was so much fun. It was really, really cool. And I was also in a bikini parade as well on the Gold Coast many years ago, Australia's longest bikini parade. We didn't actually win it at the time, but it was fun being in it, and doing the bikini parade on the Gold Coast, of course, very Gold Coast thing to do. And Leith and I, now Leith and I have known each other for quite a while, but only recently did we discover that we were born on the same year, and in fact, 11 days apart. So I'm the 16th of January, just 4 days ago, I had my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. And Leith was born on the 5th of January, the same year. Can you believe it? I was born in Sydney. You were born in Melbourne, right, Leith?
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Melbourne.
So the two biggest capital cities in Australia, 11 days apart. How about that? And I recently attended an overnight gong healing session actually with Leith, which was amazing. And it was at Hippocrates Centre on the Gold Coast at Madrabar. And this was a very unique experience. And I know you just did one recently as well, Leith. So what was so special about this healing that you did?
Well, we measured participants before with from 1 to 10, how stressed are you at the moment, and then energy levels, and then we measured after, and then again 72 hours later, and the results were actually quite remarkable, that people had effects 72 hours later, 3 days later. So that's it's given me confidence to keep running these sessions, because of the powerful effect that these a consistent sound can help people with their nervous system for the REM stage of sleep, and especially using gongs.
Now, I have a question. So, do you only use gongs, or are you also a believer in different frequencies of sound and different things like that? Because I know there's different frequencies that you can listen to, music, different things like that. There's different waves, alpha waves, gamma waves, different things like that. Do you utilize those things as well, or just gongs?
I'm glad you brought up this topic, Ken, because it is opening up a can of worms, and I think I'm going to be the disruptor of everyone's belief systems here on the show, because people come to me, and especially my students, and talk about this frequency and that frequency, but there's quite a lot of frequencies that haven't been proven, and everyone's talking about the 442 or the 5, 528 that repairs DNA. So this is not supported by any credible science. And so I tend to look at it more that it's vibration, and that there's a range of vibrations. And frequencies, like, how frequent how frequent does it occur? So I guess when you're talking, say for example, you've got hot or cold temperature, you don't say that cup of tea is temperature. You say it's hot or cold. It's the same thing about frequency. So I think there's a bit of a misconception on frequencies. Now, obviously, people have their own frequencies as well, and depending on how much trauma they're holding in their body, could determine different frequencies in the body. So it's really challenging to pinpoint a certain frequency for healing in sound healing. There's obviously certain frequencies of low frequencies or high frequencies that have an effect. However, everyone's different. So, and
what are your thoughts on EMF?
So yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on EMF.
Oh, no worries. It's just a curious question, like, because this is like a topic that can, have many different angles and facets and everything else. So that, so don't mind me if I ask you a question where it's just like, oh, I don't know. So don't mind, if you don't know, you don't know. But I'm just curious. That's all.
And for those that don't know what EMF is, can you explain?
Electric magnetic frequencies. So there actually is a lot of proof out there around these, how harmful that they are to the body. Your phone emits it, your computer emits it, Wi-Fi emits it, and it's actually radiation to your body. So I was just wondering if you are familiar with EMF and all that other stuff.
Well, these are all frequencies that we can't hear with our human ear.
Right.
And some people can hear them. I mean, you can, if you're attuned to those kind of frequencies, you can hear them or you can feel them. I think they're very damaging. And the more that we are addicted to our phones, the more that we're addicted to, looking at the screen, Wi-Fi, those type of things, is actually taking us out of our natural harmony of nature.
Yes.
And I think that this is the elephant in the room. You've really hit the nail on the head there, Ken, by asking this question, because I think it's really damaging the human race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
And 5G towers have got a lot to do with that too, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, so that can go, the 5G thing and what's actually behind that. Yeah, we can go way off here about that. But
6G is coming out as well, apparently. So the thing is that it takes us out of ourselves. Every time we look at a screen or we're on our phones, it disengages us from us, and even just that compartmentalization or that movement away from self or the now, takes us out of our sound or rhythm or, and I think, nature's a really great connector, to get back into that rhythm. It's just go outside. You know what I mean?
Grounding.
Yeah, grounding, being outside, and the sounds. The birds and sounds help make the trees grow.
Yes, they do. A lot of people don't. How do I want to say this? I think a lot of people, they know that we emit like an electric vibe out of our own bodies. Like you said, like we vibrate, and depending on what we're going through depends on how we vibrate and different things like that. But I don't think people really get it. I don't think they wrap their head around the fact that we actually are, there's actually electric currents going through our body. And interesting enough, this reality kind of kicked into me when one day I took my little headphone plug-in for my speakers on my laptop here. And whenever I go like this, I get a sound that comes out of them. And that's the electric current that's coming through my body. And this current can get disrupted by many different things. And I think it's a very under-realized concept. People think they know, but have they really wrapped their head around it? No. I don't think people realize just how much of an electrical current we actually produce, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think. Well, I guess I discovered that part when I read a book by Dr. Mitchell L. Gaynor. He was a medical oncologist who was using singing bowls to help reduce chemo for his cancer patients, and that's when I started to realize that, hey, hang on, there's more to sound that meets the ear, and then I started to realize that, when I started to delve into it. It took me a while to realize, but when I did, I realized that it's actually, we're made up of sound. We're like walking musical instruments, and every single cell in our body is vibrating. And then when I started to look into it further, I was like, well, there's biblical as well, because in the beginning with the word, and then you look into cymatics and you think, well, hang on, it's actually what creates as well. So I think at a fundamental thing, we actually are sound, and I even go one further and believe and think that it, maybe God is a sound, and it's emitting a sound that is the creator, and it's a sound, and maybe we're looking at it. Maybe I'm looking at it differently. However, I just think, and everything is vibrating. I mean, even just this cup is vibrating, but it just looks, it's vibrating at such a low frequency that it's a solid.
Yes.
It's actually, it's all these parts moving. Everything's moving.
Nothing's I've heard of that. So that's why things are solid for us. They're just vibrating at a lower vibration. So, things like your car, your steering wheel and stuff like that. The only reason why we can see those and perceive those is just because of their vibration. Yeah, I've heard of that. Now,
everything is moving. Yeah, nothing is standing still.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say God is sound, though. But I get what the point that you're trying to make, for sure.
Well, I guess if you break it down to God is God, generating, organizing, and destroying. And that's the cycle that continues. It's and I think that's
interesting.
That's what happens in our existence.
That's interesting. I've heard another acronym description for God, and that is greater organized design. And if you think, Dr. Hawkins, a psychiatrist out of America, of course, did the book Power versus Force and did Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness. And he showed and proved scientifically that we are 99.99999% energy, frequency, and vibration as human beings. And when we get into different emotions, we vibrate at different frequencies. And so there's love and above. So for those who know Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, look it up or look up the book Power versus Force, and you'll see these diagrams. You'll see the map of consciousness. And when we're in fear, we are vibrating at 100 hertz. When we are in shame, we're at 20 hertz. And then those lower vibrations are things like guilt and grief, things like that. Now, when we go love and above, love is 528 hertz. Love and above, when we go to joy and gratitude, we're at 540 hertz. Peace is at 600 hertz and enlightenment is 700 hertz plus. So emotions are very closely tied in with the frequency we vibrate at. And that's where sometimes we say, I just didn't gel with that person, or I really felt connected with that person, because we're vibrating at different frequencies. And ideally, we want to be high vibe as much as possible. And they say your vibe attracts your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And sometimes as we're growing and evolving through life, as our vibe is lifting, as we become more high vibe, some people will just drop away. That's not to say one is better than the other, because everyone's on their own journey, I believe, right? Everyone's on their own journey. And we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, is my belief, right? Spiritual beings having a human experience. We know the minute our body dies, our body becomes lighter, and I believe the soul goes somewhere. Now, we all have different stories and different religious or spiritual beliefs about where our soul may go when we die. However, intrinsically, sound is absolutely crucial for how we do life and the experience of life that we have. I shared a video on YouTube, across all my socials, Instagram, etc., a little while ago with all my chickens. I've got 6 chickens that I adopted, and I had a video. Some of you have seen this video. It's just a little 45-second clip of my 6 chickens all on my lap, and they're going chirp, 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 chirp. They're all making these little chicken sounds, and it was a sunset sound healing by my chickens. This beautiful sound that the chickens were making. I just felt so blissful, so peaceful with these chickens. Whereas other people might look at the chickens and freak out and go, oh my gosh, and live in fear around, oh, what might the chickens do? But really, people have so much fear over things that they really don't need to fear. Human beings, we've created movies like Jaws, right, to be afraid of sharks. We've created movies like Anaconda, and a lot of people are scared of snakes. There's all sorts of spider phobic
arachnophobia, I think, is that movie with big spider. Ugh.
Yeah, so just notice, where are you living in fear, and where have you got peace in your life, and how quickly you can also shift from fear to peace through sound. I often play, for example, relaxation music in the background, because I've apparently have ADHD. I'm one of these entrepreneurs apparently who's diagnosed with ADHD. I don't take any medication for it, no prescribed medication for ADHD, but apparently I have ADHD. And so one thing I do to calm down is play some beautiful relaxation music, which there's plenty online to play. So Leith, your thoughts around the link between sound and how you do life. How important is it to be conscious of the sounds that we're consuming?
Well, I kind of want to put another spin on some of the terms. Is that everyone's talking about high vibration. However, low vibrations have a profound effect as well, and especially into the theta and delta stage of sounds. So to have a high vibration is important, but the low vibrations are important too. And I'd like to go one more, a different one, because then you're not sort of you're not sort of putting yourself on a pedestal and saying, well, I'm high vibration and you're doing these low vibrations, because it's important to have the whole spectrum. However, I like to say that it's a channel. So you're just changing the channel. You're tuning into a different radio station, and whatever radio station that you want to tune into is where you need to be. So to have these specific, that this feeling is from love is this frequency. Again, it hasn't been proven. None of it's been proven. So we really need to like look at it differently, and I encourage people to sort of maybe expand it out a little bit differently. That the lower vibrations are just as important. It's just as important to be angry and be sad, and even be yourself. Whether you want to stay in that on that channel is up to you. Maybe if you stay in that for too long, then you are emitting some sort of resonant vibration that attracts that type of, another type of person. So it's all about matching who you want to match, really. And I think that starts to go into more of resonance. I mean, if you are, sad and lonely and upset, go and hang around some people that are different, have a different mindset, and maybe you're just changing the channel there, rather than high or low. Because as soon as you say high, you're like, well, there's those people underneath, and we've all been that person underneath as well. So it's important to look at it differently. And the more I explore lower vibrations, those calm sounds, or if someone's talking, softly, that's a beautiful place to be in as well, so that's just the way that I'm starting to look at things now. That I think we're all, on the same wavelength. We just experiencing life differently, and we can choose to which channel to tune into, I guess.
What do you say about people that are, because I see a lot of people out there, they're a lot of them, like I see this come across on Instagram from time to time. I'll see a reel out there. Somebody's got this big old huge giant massive tuning fork, and they're banging it on a rock and then sticking it on their body to let it resonate. What are your thoughts on that? Those kind of strategies and tools and stuff like that. Are they effective? Is there actually any proof that that heals? So, I mean, because one of the things I'm really liking that you're saying is like, well, there's no proof for this. There's no scientific proof. I actually like that you're coming across that way. So let's look at another angle. What about these massive tuning forks that people are using and banging them to getting them? Yeah. What about those?
So I just want to say that not all sound is healing. So, you've got intensity, dissonance, volume. You can overstimulate, trigger discomfort. You've got low rhythmic sounds that, ground and soothe. You got sharp, erratic or loud sounds as well. That can disrupt the nervous system. So it's really about the right sound dose is key. More is not always better. And obviously it's important to play with care and intention and understanding that it's not just about you playing, it's about how people are receiving the sound as well. And I see practitioners all over the place that start sound and they've got 30 instruments but the transitions are erratic and discordant. So I think less is always best. Obviously, you've got bigger gongs that have more of a range of sounds. You've got bigger tuning forks. I mean, I've seen huge tuning forks. However, it's the practitioner that's playing it, and how are they showing up in the world? Is it coming from ego? Is it coming from performance? Is it coming from I'm just earning money? Or I'm trying to prove something because look at me, I've got this instrument and it sounds great, but you can really do damage with people's nervous systems. And I guess this is a great time to actually bring this up in conversation, because I'm seeing a lot of damage out there, and this is one of the reasons why I started the association, because I wanted to create some sort of benchmark for people that have trauma. And you don't know who's got trauma. You haven't asked. Some people just play all these instruments and not even know this person's background. So it's really important to do this with intention and safety. So we want to create a safe space, and I think that's important, because if you feel safe enough in the sound, then you're able to let go or resonate or have some sort of attraction to that sound that makes you feel good. So.
And this is where nature is so powerful, because there are so many beautiful sounds in nature. And that's why I love connecting with animals. I love to hear the leaves, the trees, just the breeze, with nature moving with the breeze. I love those kind of sounds. And then when I hear someone hooning down the street, I get very upset about it. I feel my body actually going, getting quite angry about a hoon going down the street. And really there's no need to go hooning down a suburban street where it's, a 50 kilometre an hour zone. And yet there's all these people that might do 100 Ks down a 50 K street. And this is where we get animals that get run over. I just shared, we had a possum dead out the front of the house from someone going too fast down the street, probably hooning, which was a very upsetting sound for me, was that hooning. It's just like some people don't like the fingernails on the chalkboard, or don't like the cutlery hitting your plates as you're eating, or all these sounds can grate at people. Sometimes someone's screaming, right? Screaming can be very a great healing process for maybe for the person that's screaming, letting out the anger or upset. There can be, where they say go to the bush and just scream your heart out. And people that hear that scream might be very disturbed from that scream as well. So yes, be mindful of all those things and distance yourself ideally from any sounds that might upset you, such as, I don't get how people love thrash metal or death metal. Whenever I hear death metal, where it's going rah, 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 you can't even hear what the hell they're
Agreed.
I find my whole body kind of goes, I used to get into punk music back in the day. I quite like punk music, but then I was a very angry sort of, teenager. And that for me was a great release when I used to get into punk music, back in the day. And at the same time, I got into things like The Doors and Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix and sort of more of the peaceful hippie kind of stuff as well. So, and then I think about Bob Marley and reggae music. And, the reason why reggae music is so well loved across the world is because it goes in the beat of the heart. It's a lovely, joyful,
it is
heart sound with reggae. And then of course there's the gongs, which is a very deep sound. And Leith, I'd love for you to share particularly the power of the gongs in sound healing versus a lot of people have the crystal bowls. So what are the main differences with the gong versus the crystal bowls?
And bells. Let's talk about bells too in that, because I've been reading in a couple places that churches and different buildings used to have real bells. And it has been said, now I don't know about the proof again behind this, it has been said that those bells had healing power. This is one of the reasons why society got rid of all the bells. If you notice, churches don't have real bells anymore. Where did they go? Why were they destroyed, right? So let's also talk about that too.
Yeah. So there's two parts to this. There's the sounds that we love to listen to, and then the sounds that we don't love to listen to. And then there's the esoteric side of things, which is, the ancient part of it. But first I want to talk a little bit about music, because we all know that music has an effect on our body, whether it's, you feel happy or you cry, or, you feel sad, or it reminds you of something, or, even in dementia patients, they've remembered a song and they've, but they can't remember anyone's name, the music really has a lot of power. Some people can actually listen to heavy metal music and actually feel relaxed. People can listen to reggae music and feel that that's the worst music they've ever heard. So everyone's completely different.
Personal preference.
It's personal preference, and we have to account that people are different and they've had different experiences in life. And, some heavy metal music is they use a lot of classical guitaring in it as well. So people can, pinpoint specific instruments and then focus on just that one instrument and feel calm over it, even if there's a lot of loud yelling and death metal, as you mentioned. So I think everyone's different. Everyone, experiences life differently. And obviously some people like loud, motorbikes and some don't. I do believe that loud motorbikes, are very discordant and can really do some damage to nervous system. I've seen people in cafes get shocked by people with motorbikes, and whether they're trying to prove a point or whatever, they're actually doing a lot of damage to people's nervous systems. And I think now in this time, it's all about our nervous system, whether it's someone that yells at you, whether you're yelling at someone, whether it's nervous system is 2026. A lot of our nervous systems are shot, and we have to really become aware that we need to keep relaxing our nervous systems consistently now, because everyone's stressed. I mean, it's 1 in 4 people are suffering from mental health. I think it's even more people are suffering from mental health. So it really should be as soon as you wake up, you need to do the work to settle your nervous system throughout the whole day. All these sounds that we're hearing a lot more now, which is the beeping of your phones, the beeping of your seatbelt in your car, the beeping of the microwave, the beeping of your fridge. Everything beeps, but it's all, an emergency. We've got to do something now. We've got to put on our seatbelt now. We have to answer our phone. All these sounds are affecting our nervous system. And I'm seeing more and more people stressed, nervous system, deregulated. People are getting sick more so than ever. So I think more so than ever, we need to really be doing a lot more somatic work in the body, and sound can help soothe that. So I think that this is really key in what's happening in our world at the moment, and really it should be a main focal point. And I've made it one through the work that I do, is to consistently help people, even in advertising. It's there like, oh, quick, jump in fast, you're going to miss out. Everyone's affecting their nervous system, even in marketing. So you just can't we just all need to consider that our nervous system needs to be, regulated consistently. I hate to be the disruptor, but I am. And I think that, a lot of people don't even know that the nervous system is playing up. You think that all these things are happening in your life that, it's all going around smoothly until something happens. And then all of a sudden, hang on, why am I so stressed? Or why am I so anxious? Well, it creeps up on you. It's like depression. It creeps up on you and you don't even know your nervous system's shot until you let it go. And then you're like, oh my God, I feel lighter, or I feel happier, or then your nervous system's regulated. So I think we need to look at, how we express ourselves, what language we use, the words that we use, even talking about other people, dysregulates your nervous system and probably energetically affects their nervous system as well. I know I not perfect, and I have this as well, but we need to, it's just something that I believe that we need to keep thinking about, because our words have power, our thoughts have power, and it's all sound, whether it's our thought, what we think about someone or what we say about someone. It's projecting sound, it's projecting a spell, so I think with the ancients, and they all knew all how sound was so powerful. The Egyptians, the Peruvians used flutes, the Africans used drums. There's cultures, ancient cultures from all over the world that have used sound, whether they've covered it up, with the churches and the bells and things like that. This is the reason why I love playing gongs, is because they date back 4,000 BC. That's a long time. It's right back to the alchemy period, where they were smelting metals and making samurai swords. And they say that bells came from gongs. So all the churches church bells are originally from gongs, and emperors used gongs. They used them for all sorts of things that maybe is carried through today. We tend to play them a bit differently today. A lot of people think you just strike a gong and then there's like this big crash, but it's really more of a wave that we create from the gong, which is the sound sort of starts up slowly and starts to build. Because any of these loud crashes or bangs seem to have an effect on our nervous system, especially today. Maybe not in the past as much, but today they have an effect. So I think, especially with healers, sound healers, and that, they really need to be really careful with what they're doing. And this is an exploding, modality that's just, it's the new yoga. everyone's a sound healer. Everyone's getting instruments and doing it, but there needs to be a duty of care with it. These are powerful healing tools that have transformational effects on the body, and healing capacity for people, but they also have an effect of putting people back into fight or flight, or anchoring the sound into their nervous system, so they're carrying on the same pattern or dysregulated.
Interesting.
That's fascinating. And back in the day, I've seen a lot of movies where they use the gong, like I'm sure it was in King and I, and, some of those old movies where they bang the gong and then, enter and come and see the king, whatever it was. And so back then, I guess how they used the gong was more like that. Whereas nowadays, how would you say it's different, or what are some things to be aware of for those that are playing gongs out there, or have got themselves a gong and think, oh, gee, I'll have a go at this? What are some things to be aware of?
Well, we're probably hearing the echoes of gongs consistently today, and especially with the sirens, because before the sirens, they had bells, and they would ring the bell going down the street. And so that's now moved into a siren. So every time we hear a siren, we're hearing what the resonance of gongs, because gongs before bells were gongs. So we're hearing these sounds all the time. And, gongs are great for, connecting people instantly. They're great for, when the emperor walks into the room, the gong would go off and the emperor would walk into the room, and it would command attention. It's because people, it's easy to grab onto the sound, and people say, oh, we find it hard to meditate or switch off the mind. Well, maybe we're not switching off the mind. Maybe we're just following the sound, and it's the sound that takes you into that meditative state. So it's just looking at it a little bit differently. I mean, obviously, if you bang a gong too hard and fast, you can really disrupt someone's nervous system. And I did an experiment in my trainings, and I went up to what's called into the fire. And by doing that and demonstrating that, I actually put one person into a shock state, and the other person actually had a whole transformational experience from it. And even people reported that this lady had, she looked differently, and she said, oh my God, something happened and I feel differently, like I feel amazing. And the other woman was completely the opposite. So, and then I didn't realize that until later, when she expressed that she really had some trauma from that. So, so it's just something that happened, and it's experience, and I learned a lot from that. And this is where I chose. She's actually helped me to choose a different way that I play with sound, or perform with sound, and teach others. So yeah,
fascinating. And I love the depth of the gong sound. I know the way you play it, it's like a whole kaleidoscope of sounds that you get out of these gongs. It's quite extraordinary. Very, very powerful. And it seems to hit on multiple different levels. So I absolutely love the way you play, having experienced it firsthand and having experienced it overnight as well. Highly recommend that experience. And you did actually the first one on the Gold Coast that had been done. Is that correct?
I used to do them in Brisbane before COVID, but then that kind of changed everything. And then, now I started measuring it, and I was just like, wow, like this needs to be done more. And it was great, because the first one sold out, and the second one I had a full class as well. And there's people even booked in for the next one. It's in 2 months. So it's I think really what's happening is people are starting to realize that this is a stressful world we live in. It's not, everything's against us. The water we drink, the the Wi-Fi, the governments, like, just everything seems to be like at war with us. And I believe we're in a war. And whether we think that we are, or everyone's positive and think something's going to happen, that's going to change everything, great, fantastic. But you need to understand that, where we are in humanity right now, people are stressed. And whether you're walking out there positive and around other people, that's great. But you still resonate with these other people. And the majority of people, if we are all connected and we are all one, then we're all in need to be regulating our nervous system, because the more that we do this and the more that we do it within, that's where we can change. I don't believe that we need to go out there and do whatever we just need to start with ourselves first. And this is the great thing that I thought when COVID hit. I was like, how do I be an activist? Well, I think the best way to be an activist is to get a whole bunch of people out there that are healing more people, and and focusing on what we can do to change, which is help ourselves first, and do it from within.
Yes, it starts with us. Absolutely. I want to just go back to what we were saying about high vibe, low vibe, and the science behind that. So Dr. Hawkins did his own, science and studies and, decades of research into this, and did a lot of applied kinesiology, interestingly. And the thing is, there's consequences of being high vibe or low vibe. And I think, yes, we as human beings, we have this roller coaster ride of life that happens, where we have the highs of the highs, sometimes we have the lows of the lows, and that's all part of the human journey. And sometimes going into these low vibration areas where we feel anger, we feel frustration or sadness, sometimes those things are pivotal to actually take action in areas where we can have greater impact in the world. So I think that is absolutely crucial to notice when we are feeling low vibe, because sometimes we just need to slow down to speed up, as they say, right?
Sometimes, well, it can be a catalyst. I mean, anger can when you find you're angry, you can cry or whatever, and it's just the next step to a release. So it's good to embrace these emotions, and I think there's a term called spiritual bypassing, where you're negating that this emotion's happening or that emotion's happening because I should be high vibe, or I'm not high vibe. But maybe that's time to go within and really have introspective and there's a lot of learnings that come from going into those spaces. Yep. So just I would say just go into those spaces and really feel it, and just really go into that or that vibration if you need to.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Obviously staying in it is it's a different story. But the thing is, also too, maybe you need to stay in it for as long as you need to stay in it as well. I mean,
yeah.
I believe that I come from quite a traumatic background, and I felt like that most of my childhood was like in solitary confinement. I felt like I was in prison, but I feel like that was my path. That's where I needed to go, and that has shaped me for the person I am today. So I think that all this kind of effort, and maybe there's no effort. Maybe it's the other way. That's the letting go, the surrendering, the receiving as well, because all this can be doing, but this is what we do in sound healing, is the not doing. It's the receiving, it's the allowing, it's the trusting. So it's really, counterproductive, because your body wants to go and do all these things, like I've got to go fix myself, or I've got to feel like this, or I've got to do this. It's the other way.
And if everything happens for you, not to you, if you're not actually the victim of anything, then the emotions that we feel, the high vibe, the low vibe, there's something to learn from those situations. And as we say, there's consequences to everything. So what Dr. Hawkins found is that when we stay in higher vibration states or elevated states of consciousness, like love, joy, and peace, it actually promotes healing and balance in your life, while lower states of consciousness like fear and shame can actually contribute to stress and illness. So, one way or the other, it's your choice whether you're going to stay high vibe or low vibe. And, nothing wrong with feeling either of those things. It's just, how do you want to live your life? And this is why, 1 in 3 people have depression. They're probably in some very low vibe states. Having had depression myself, I have been in some very low vibe states. And sometimes I've been in these states for months at a time. I've had 4 friends who've killed themselves, because they've been in these low vibe states for way too long, and they've felt very alone in these low vibe states. And the thing is that we've all had low vibe states. As a human being, if you haven't had some crappy moments in your life or unexpected twists and turns, then clearly you haven't been living the full human existence, right? You've probably been under a rock somewhere, so this is part of the human journey. And, it's a choice in any moment how long you want to stay there, because there will be consequences on your health. There'll be consequences on the people around you. There'll be consequences on how you do life or business, or how you experience relationships, or how you generally experience the world. And, a big practice for me has been gratitude, being in gratitude. We have the Good News Day, the Global Good News Challenge. And when you're in gratitude, you cannot be depressed. However, to tell a depressed person that, to say to a depressed person, oh, so what are you grateful for? If they're really stuck in a rut with their depression, then it's very hard for them to actually think about anything they're actually grateful for. So everyone's on their own journey, and we have to learn to accept that people are on their own journey, and we cannot control everything around us. We can't control how corrupt the governments are, or whether people are going to lie to us, or whether, there's going to be chemtrails or fluoride in our water supplies, or, 5G towers going up during lockdowns, or, as we saw all this stuff happen. And some people have been very depressed and very angry about that, and rightfully so. However, what are you doing about it right now? As a positive of all that, there've been some amazing sort of common law groups and communities that have come together to lift the consciousness, to lift the awareness around how you do life, how you care for your body, how you can heal yourself, such as with sound, of course, very powerful. And Hippocrates is brilliant, a brilliant place that's been doing that in Madrabar. They've been doing amazing conscious events there in nature. There's horses across the road. There's, so many different birds and animals in that whole area, where slowing down and connecting with the beauty all around us is so, so healing, with the sounds of nature. And with a concentrated sound healing, such as what Leith does, it takes it next level yet again, to actually have that time for yourself, where you can fully just receive this beautiful healing energy of the sound healing. And this is where also I think it's very important to be mindful of who you choose to do your sound healings with as well, because I've had some kinesiology, for example, treatments that I've actually felt worse after the treatment than before the treatment, because of the energy of the person who was doing the treatment at that time. So I think it's also very important to be, mindful to maybe test before you go the full hog. Maybe do a short sound healing with Leith before you do the overnight experience, to see how you find his experiences, for example. Do a taste test before you go and do a longer healing. So Leith, a bit about that with sound healers out there. What are some of the biggest mistakes and biggest things you're seeing that are actually doing more harm than good with some sound healers out there?
Yeah, there's so many. I don't know where to start, but I guess care is one thing, and placing, like, if you are a sound healing, I think it's really good to imagine yourself as the person lying down there receiving, and how you would like to receive. And it's even good to even go to these sound healings and just lie there and see what other people do. there's sound healers that walk around people and play instruments over the top of people and that type of thing. But, like sometimes when I'm lying down, I'm just like, I don't really want anyone else in my space. I'm comfortable here. I feel safe. And then I've got my eyes closed, and then all of a sudden someone's coming up playing something there, which actually has taken me out of my state before. And, even if they're being quiet, you still know that they're there. So there's that to consider, or even to express that you're going to be doing that for people. And if they don't want that, then you put up your hand, give them a choice. So I see this more and more that, and yeah, it feels good sometimes when someone's, playing a didgeridoo on top of you or using tuning forks on your body. Some people don't like to be touched. Some people don't like that in their space. People go to these sessions and want that, that safety. So I think safety and care is an important one. I also think that, is to be present as well with when you're performing, because there's always these projections into the future or the past, and what am I going to play next, or something like that, as well. And there's also that you believe that you might be channeling some sort of spirit from somewhere. Just know that we don't know who we're channeling from where, as well. So it's important to have that consideration too. There's a lot of people that do, drums with breath work, and you can actually really do some damage if people are in some certain states and you play a drum too loud or something and it shocks the body in these altered states of consciousness. You could be putting this into someone where they can have an effect. It's like when I'll give an example. I think this is a really great example. So if there's a car crash, you hear the squeak of the brakes, and then it's the crash. It's the sounds that actually lock in the trauma. We're not like dogs. We don't sit there shaking, all that energy out. We don't do that as animals. So a lot of the traumas that we've experienced today might be someone that's shouted at you all of a sudden. They did this experiment with, I think there was they put all these babies in a room and they put a snake in there, and the babies had no fear of the snake. They were touching it, and the mother was watching. She's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're," it was a python, and they were touching the snake, and they didn't even realize the danger that was there at all. Yet they experienced danger when they heard loud noises. When babies hear loud noises, it can shock and it can lock in the trauma. So with sound healers, they got to understand that they're actually, and I guess you talked a bit about nature, how it's healing, and basically what we're doing is we're recreating nature sounds for people that don't get outside. They're probably working all the time. They don't get out in nature, and in a safe space where they feel that they're in a calm space, and then we're able to unlock that trauma, bringing back those same sounds, and in a relaxed state, so it actually bypasses the trauma and gets our nervous system back to regulation. So I guess for sound healers to understand that what they're doing is really powerful, and the way that they play can have an impact. And just because you're playing loud or you've got all these bowls, it doesn't matter. It's you need to be watching people all the time, and watching their breathing, and really playing the instruments to whatever's happening in the audience. So it's an awareness that needs to be, looked at. And obviously there's intention. You talked a little bit more about, hope, intention, belief, and being present.
Yes, I think that's so important, because if a sound healer's had a crap day, for example, and they're thinking about their crap day while doing the healing, of course, that energy is going to come through and is going to affect people there. And, this is an ongoing challenge for a lot of people, is to be present, to be fully present. Like right now, I'm here with you. I'm concentrating on what you're saying. And there's birds singing in the background.
The birds, they're beautiful.
And they sound amazing. And so there's also part of me that's, oh, that's so nice, the birds in the background. So, we've got constant distractions, right? Constantly things are happening around us. So to actually come back to presence and to come back to our breath, right, which beats for us, our heart beats for us over 100,000 times a day. And, we're often not even conscious of it.
The sound.
Yeah.
They say, I want to sort of, maybe this will put things in perspective. But when the baby's being born, the inner ear is the first to form, and it aligns with the mother's heartbeat, and it's the mother's heartbeat that starts building the neural network in the body. So it starts to build the brain, and the actual body itself is the sound of the heartbeat. So imagine that if sound is the creation and the heartbeat's really what has created us in the first place. Beautiful to hear the heart.
And it's like the sound of the ocean is so healing as well, when you hear the waves, and there's a lot of instruments that actually sound like the ocean, which is really beautiful too. As you say, a lot of sound healers are imitating nature, I guess, or looking at ways that they can bring that natural sound to people in different ways. So,
the ebb and flow effect. Yeah, it's that continuous sound that really is the key for rocking us into that hypnotic state. And who wants to hear a loud crash or like a sudden sound when you're in that? You're coming out of that beautiful space. So it's those continuous sounds that really have a great effect on us.
Yes, it's like the lullabies are always, like rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. It's always gentle music. You don't ever hear someone playing metal for their children, unless perhaps they've had some association with that being a good release for the child that's maybe crying, to get out some anger through death metal music.
We're using those quite a fair bit. I've noticed it in say when we sing happy birthday to people. It's like happy birthday. They don't realize it's actually a ritual. But reminding us of how old we are all the time, which maybe has an effect on aging. Who knows? But with those nursery rhymes as well, that they sort of have a soothing effect as well. But it's to put us into altered states of consciousness. Sound can do that. Yeah, quite.
Yes, so powerful. So powerful. We've got our amazing Corinda Marley with us, who does the Empowerment Extend show. Good to see you there, Corinda. And he's just interviewed our last guest, Davida, about immigration. We just had on our previous show. Thank you, Corinda. That's awesome. And he wants you, Leith, on his podcast. Corinda, that's awesome. So connect with Leith. Love to have Leith on the podcast, he says. That is very cool. And Corinna's got a question here. How does it feel with episode 123? Well, Ken, let me ask you, how do you feel having done 123 episodes?
I think it's amazing. Like, we've been going at it for 123 episodes. It's just, it's kind of surreal, but here we are. And I'm pretty sure we will still be here we are at episode 200. So, I mean, it's great.
It is, yeah, absolutely. It's very surreal. And it's interesting that Ken and I have never met in person. We met online networking during COVID, never met in person, and yet this show's been going since 2022. So coming on to our 4th year now, along with a lot of marriages have lasted, and here we are, we've never met in person. Maybe that's the secret, just don't meet in person. Just do everything virtually. And that, you're never going to really get in each other's space too much. You can always just go, right, I'm ending the stream right now. I'm going to exit the computer and I'll see you later when I'm in
I'll
a
just
better
mute you.
Yeah, you're muted. You're done.
You're muted.
Oh, classic.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Leith. And Corinda says some radio stations can be sad. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's interesting, particularly community radio stations, the different types of shows you get on community radio stations, like 4ZZZ, for example. You know, you might go on one show and there's jazz music, and another one there's punk music, and then there's another one there's the old 50s rockabilly music, and they all have different sort of emotions that come with it. Actually, the other day, oh my gosh, this is when I realized I'm starting to get old, because I put classical music on the radio and I actually enjoyed it. I used to hate classical music. Wow. I put it on, oh my gosh, here we go. I'm showing my age. I'm actually getting into classical music. And what I actually loved, it actually relaxed my body. I actually felt I could actually think, because, you know, there was no words coming at me with the classical music. It was just all this beautiful music that was, you know, which a lot of classical music is used in movies as well to create different emotions. And oh my gosh. So yes, you know, you're getting old when you're getting into classical music, right? Aging, as they say, souls are ageless. However, I am 52, as Leith is now. We're both 52, yay. And I'm very grateful to be 52 because a lot of people have
52 years young.
Yes, 52 years young. Souls are ageless, and Capricorns, we have a reverse aging process. So we start at 105 and we work our way backwards. So we actually get younger as we get older. So that's what they say about Capricorns. Oh, and that's why, Corinda, that's right. That's why we have podcasts, because they make us happy. That's right, Corinda. We do our own media nowadays because we know traditional media, my background of 20 plus years in traditional media, we know a lot of it's very negative, don't we? And of course, the minute the ads come on, as Leith said, they're twice as loud as the actual news bulletin. So that makes you even more, you know, fearful and irate and agitated and anxious. So I always turn the volume down when the ads come on. With traditional media. So yes,
I look for the skip button. Like, where's my skip button? Where's the fast forward button? I don't even want to sit there and watch it. Like, I'm just like,
I guess whatever you can to do to minimize this sound pollution is important, whether it's turning the notifications off your phone, you know, and not reacting to these sounds. You know, it's changing your neural network, you know, out of that fight or flight mechanism, because I think this is where it's all at. It's our nervous systems are shot. You know, mine's been shot, and you know, I've had to, you know, do extra work just to try and re-regulate myself, because, you know, all these you know, the news and it's all playing the same sound. It's an echo chamber that just keeps running over and over again.
Yeah, so Leith. And actually, I'm really curious about your background, Leith. What actually got you into sound healing in the first place?
So it was a burnout from being a chef. Was the main catalyst, but it was also I started teaching myself didgeridoo up in Cairns, and I started to move into self-development. And I was poor at the time, and I went to this meetup group, and it was you know, David Kiyosaki's game. It was I can't remember.
Cash flow.
Yeah, yes, and I got out of the rat race and that, and I won a coaching session by a guy called Adrian Pon, and he came to my house and he said, "Oh, let's," and I was actually on St. Vincent de Paul, you know, food stamps and everything. So he's like, "Let's run through a whole bunch of things that you can do in your life to, you know, make some money." And one of it was teaching men how to circular breathe with the didgeridoo. So I put an ad on Gumtree at the time, and then all of these, you know, $30 or whatever for an hour session. But I threw myself into self-development, into, you know, coaching and leadership and all that type of thing. And I was doing hypnosis at the time as well. So it ended up being a coaching session because they would stop halfway through, these men, and start sharing their feelings. And so it ended up being this sort of, counseling session for $30. So I knew then that what was something that was making these men feel safe enough for them to share their feelings was coming through from playing these instruments, and and then that's when I started to explore sound and vibration from there. Yeah, and obviously reading Dr. Mitchell L. Gaynor's book was really a catalyst, saying that basically there's some science behind this, or there's some professional doctor talking about it, and need to take note.
Amazing.
Commentation.
I know Adrian Pond very well. I haven't seen him for years. And I remember when he was doing the cash flow games up in Brisbane. He's an awesome guy. We did a lot of wealth dynamics work together with Roger Hamilton back in the day. So hello, Adrian, if you're watching, sending you much love. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
And
he probably doesn't even know that this is the catalyst. He was one of the catalysts. I've never actually told him, but hopefully he sees this. And then, thank you, Adrian. Really appreciate you helping me make a new direction in my life.
That's amazing. And now you're known as the Gong guy, right? You're you are Leith Gong James, right? We all know you as that. That's what your Facebook name is. And so how did you go from didgeridoo then to gongs?
Well, at the time, no one was actually doing gongs. I think there was a couple of guys there was a guy in Byron. There was one up the sunny coast, and then I started looking into sound therapy, and there wasn't really much around at the time. And then I found the British Academy of Sound Therapy, and I contacted them and said, "Oh, will you come to Brisbane?" And they said, "Oh, if you can get enough people to come, we'll do some sessions." And I just sold my catering business, and I just had this whole, I don't know what came over me, but I just said, I need to go into this. And then, so I just went and spent $10,000 on gongs and equipment.
Wow.
And then they showed up at my house, and then I set up the gong for the first time, and I struck it, and it was like I was home. I was like, I've never felt anything like this before in my life. And, and I didn't even know what a gong really was. I was just like, gong, what's that? So I just went on from that time on. It just sort of went on this whole pilgrimage. And I guess you could say when the student is ready and the teacher will appear. Well, the teacher did appear. He was the Grand Gong Master, and he looks a bit like Gandalf. He's got this long white hair. And I was contacted by a woman and Jay in New South Wales, and she said, "Oh, you're to go and pick up Don from the airport, and he's going to stay at your place." And I was like, "Wow, I can't believe the Grand Gong Master is going to come and stay at my house." He looks like a wizard. And then he started introducing me to a lot of these books and occult sort of esoteric sort of different ways. And then so I started to explore that, and then he said, "You need to teach." And I'm like, "Really? Do I?" This is a bit uncomfortable, but okay. And then it just sort of went there, and and then it sort of culminated into then seeing how many people had these amazing effects from the sound that was produced. I mean, I've got a lot of stories of people's transformations and experiences during the session, and they just keep blowing my mind. And people come to me 5 years later and said, "Did this changed my life?" And I'm just like humbled by it, by seeing these beautiful people have these amazing changes. Really, it's helped me. It's helped me transform from, I was drinking a lot of alcohol, smoking cigarettes. I was doing all these, really, wasn't happy with my life. And it just sort of fell off me, like I don't even drink now. I don't smoke cigarettes, and I mean, I'm still addicted to chocolate, but, I can see it within myself, how it's amazing that I'm playing sound, I'm helping myself, and then I'm helping other people. I'm like, it's a win-win situation. And do you know what? I do it for free for people. Do you need help with this, or do you need help with that? And obviously it's been lucrative as well. So, and especially doing corporate work, I think corporate really needs it. I think there's a lot of ego there that still needs to be shifted. Yeah, I mean, it's changing people's lives, and that's where I've seen that it's important to get more people out there to do more healings for people, because and I saw the power of doing groups. You can have 50, 100, 200, 300, 500 people in one room and help 500 people all at once in 1 hour, or 10 minutes, or 15 minutes. So I thought, well, if we can get some more people out there doing group stuff, we break into the mainstream, and we assist people that are already there, like psychologists, psychiatrists, hospitals, aged care, schools. If we can get more people in these places playing sound, I think it's going to have an amazing effect. And they can do 50, 100, 200, 500 people. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's a ripple effect, yeah, because if, whatever's happening here is happening on the other side of the planet. So, I think, I really think that, this is, it's coming from somewhere else anyway. It's like something's driving me, I don't know what it is, but something's, I'm here for a reason, some reason. And it's just, and obviously I would just, as I said, like it's just helping. It's just helping something, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
makes me happy.
You've definitely found your calling, I would say, Leith. I mean, when you said that you felt at home when you struck the gong for the first time, I actually had goosebumps that went down my back when you said that. So I totally believe you're on the right path there. And how many years ago was that you said you felt at home?
Well, that was after I started doing sessions with the didgeridoo. I started getting singing bowls and things like that. But yeah, it was really the gong that's really had the main effect. I mean, being in front of a big gong and striking a big gong. I mean, these gongs can go up to 80 inch. I mean, 90 inch. They're like huge. I mean, you can't just put it in your car. You know what I mean? Just to feel that wave of vibration that just goes right through you, like a gongasm. It just goes right through you, and you lose yourself in the space. And I think the main thing is just like that, losing yourself in the space is really amazing space to be. It's like letting go of the construct or your control or your grip on that, and just it's like taking your hand off the car wheel and just letting the car go wherever it needs to go.
Yes, it's very powerful. So how many years ago would you say you started gongs or playing with gongs?
Well, I more look at it as all the performances I do, and look, I was doing 3 or 4 performances a week, and even more when I had clients. It's I mean, it's an ongoing thing. I'm always learning from it. I believe that you don't play the gong plays you. It's kind of like it's an ancient machine that is, like they say, it's the first computer, and it just has the power of tone cell multiplication that comes from the gong, how it just layers the sound and gets to a point where you just can't grab onto it. It's just too powerful. It's just, you can't grab the edges. So people with control, people with ego, you have to let go of it. It's something, it's mimicking creation itself. And you really need to, go on your knees and go, thank you. But yeah, that's the way I look at it. It's you can say how many years have you been doing it, but it's really, this is going to be years to come,
Yes. You've obviously played a lot in the time you have been doing it. You've done a lot of it, and you are very good at it. I can vouch for that. Always love your sessions, and I'm very grateful for you because you'll be also performing and doing your beautiful sound healing at a retreat that we're running, which we haven't launched publicly yet, but a lot of people know about it. 10th to the 12th of April. Mark your diaries for those who have got very exciting conscious marketing retreat coming up from the 10th to the 12th of April at Hippocrates, and Leith will be there as well as some other extraordinary people. So we'll be announcing that over the coming weeks, and that will be fantastic. So I just felt some healing there. My cat just jumped on me. That's why you saw the tail just went in front of my. That was the purring of the cat is a very beautiful healing energy. I can
vibration.
Yes, great vibration. And I know Ken's got his cats usually running around over there as well.
Yeah,
behind him. So
it's like they self-regulate from their own vibration. Yeah. If you can purchase a book by Jonathan Goldman, it's called The Humming Effect. Really great book to get your hands on about humming and vibration that you can do within as well. But
nice. Yeah. Nice. I must say, I always found it hard to whistle. When people say, I'll just whistle, I always found that really tricky. But I think if you have a whistle and can whistle, that will also bring up different emotions for people. It's interesting. They whistles a lot in sport, don't they? They're always blowing that whistle or the horn, honking the horn. And now we've got e-bikes, which are like silent killers on the road. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So we do need to wrap up shortly. Thank you so much, everyone who's joined us live here. I can see on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. We've got Robert Mull. Hello. Good to see you, Robert. Now, there are some questions. Okay, so Corinda's got a question here. About, why do people play fake songs on radio stations? Corinda's asking, and why do they talk rubbish on radio and share fake stories? Well, this is the Total Truth Show, Corinda. So we do realize there's a lot of fake media out there, but why do people talk rubbish and play fake songs? What are your thoughts on that there, Leith?
Well, I mean, as soon as I hear about radio, I just go back to World War II and what the Nazis used radio for, which was control. So broadcasting throughout the airwaves is really powerful, and I guess it was interesting because when I had the Grand Gong Master come to our session to my house. We were quite fortunate to get on the ABC radio. So we went into the radio station and played the gong. And then after the gong, they started talking about someone that died, like they just kind of changed. It went from peace to the news. And it was just, but then, someone that was sitting in traffic contacted me and said, I heard the gong when I was in the car on the, stopping at the traffic lights. And I just had this thing that I just needed to go and learn gong. So he contacted us and, came to the retreat. And that's how he recognized that, this is what he had to do in life, So, but it was really interesting because they had this beautiful, peaceful place. And then they had this, all this fear and all this stuff as well. So, and the thing is, you can reach mass amounts of people through the airwaves through radio, through TV, and that has a massive effect. People don't understand how much power this can really have on our subconscious minds.
True.
So
that's why they media programming or media channels, right? The channeling through the media, through particularly traditional media, was a lot like this, right? Because we only had, a handful of media up until actually only 20 odd years ago when Facebook started in 2004. And now, everyone can start their own media now, and we are our own voices through the media. However, with the distribution of that media, of course, mainstream media has still got massive distribution, and it's very important to be conscious of what we're consuming through TV, radio, etc. And yes, there is a lot of fake news out there. There are a lot of lies in government, etc. And the fish rots from the head down, they say. And there's also an uprising that's happening of truth seekers and truth speakers and light workers and sound healers and some amazing people doing phenomenal work. So I want to honor you guys who are being a stand for the light and the truth and the, for faith and for love and for peace and for, anything that can bring that, more of that to the world, and less hatred and less anger and less war. I think most people want peace in their lives. So let's be a stand for that. Let's be an example of that in our own lives.
Yeah, broadcast that one, that love and peace, that broadcasting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And the sound waves carry the word. So it carries the word. Yeah. So if you can amplify, if you want to amplify anything, use sound and words. And that's why mantras are so powerful. That's why the kirtan is so powerful, because it vibrates, it amplifies whatever you're saying. Really important.
I love kirtans, actually. I've been to quite a few here on the Gold Coast. The Australian School of Meditation and Yoga is brilliant. And just quickly on the point of meditation, I often listen to guided meditations, and there have been some guided meditations I've listened to that actually have not been very relaxing. And I've actually felt the tone of the person who's been doing the meditation has not been of a frequency or feeling that I like. And so, there'll be some that you resonate more with and some that you don't. So the beautiful thing is we have plenty of meditations and sound healings, etc., also available online. Of course, depending on your, how good your internet is. If you get crackling internet halfway through a sound healing online, then, it's not going to be as great. And of course, in person is going to take it next level as well. Doing an in-person sound healing, such as what Leith does, is really, really great. So on that point, now we'll come to some more of your comments. I can see beautiful Alison Horn here from Sydney. Hey, Alison. Good to see you. She says she's trademarked that term, haha. I think she's talking about.
Hi, Alison.
Talking about gongasm, maybe that's the term she's. That's a great term there. So, how can people connect with you, Leith? How can they do more with you? Come to your healings, etc.
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Australian Sound Healers Association, because this was a heart-based project that I started, and it was basically to create a structure here for Australia for trauma-informed sound therapy. And if you're interested in learning sound therapy, or you're interested in working with people with mental health, I encourage you to check out the association. It's a kind of long one. It's the Australian Sound Healers Association.com.au. And we've got a course running at the moment there. And maybe we can put a bit of a discount in there or an investment special, I must say, for our listeners. So if you'd like to, it's completely online, so you can do that wherever you are in Australia or around the world. It's Australian Sound Healers Association.com.au. If you want to come up for an overnight session, if you're in Sydney or Melbourne or anywhere around Australia, please, come to one of my sessions, the overnight sessions. It's in the Gold Coast here. It starts at 8 o'clock at night and goes till 7 o'clock in the next morning. And we play gongs continuously. Not just me, because I don't know, couldn't play that for that long. A couple of my students play. So if you're interested in coming in, you're welcome to join us in the session. The next one's in March. And just jump on my gongscape.com.au on the event section and book in for that. So and bring your beds along, sleep there the night, and listen to some beautiful sounds that will run through your whole body and help you to relax.
And definitely bring a comfortable mattress if you bring a mattress or a bed, because, I must say when I did it, I didn't have the most comfortable mattress, and it was a little bit jolty for me. I think it would have been a much more enjoyable experience if you're really, really relaxed and comfortable. So big tip there for that with Leith. And Leith, do you have a favourite quote or motto you'd like to share with us today?
Well, I was just going to run through a few that I have here. So I think... I don't really have a favorite one, but I just want to say sound healing is not about hype. It's about presence, awareness, and skill. True healing happens in the space between the sounds. Let's blend ancient wisdom and modern understanding and drop the myths. Your intention and integrity matter more than any frequency. Sound therapy is a practice, not a performance. Approach it with humility. And I've got one more thing. Be a sound healer, not a sound myth maker.
I love it. That is awesome. I love all those. Thank you so much, Leith. And definitely connect with Leith. He's amazing. Get along to his healings. Or come along, reach out to me if you want to find out more about our retreat as well that we're doing April 10 to 12 on the Gold Coast. Thank you so much, Leith. Ken, how can people connect with you?
Well, you can connect with me by going to www.masteryweightloss.com/connect. So I've lost 62.5 pounds, and I've been able to keep that off for 7+ years now, all without a diet and having that be sustainable. And right now, I'm literally giving away my 3 secrets to help you feel energized, lose weight, and get healthy without starving or dieting. In just 3 powerful sessions with me, I have a mini educational boot camp where I expose the 3 biggest lies that is keeping people sick, stuck, and overweight, because that's how that industry is making money. And I show each and every individual how they can fuel their body God's way so they can finally break free and actually sustainably keep the weight off for life without a diet, without a crazy list, and all the other stuff that comes along with that craziness. So I'm going to encourage you, jump aboard my boot camp and exit out of the 95% of people that can't keep the weight off and enter into the 5% like I have been able to. And so you can find the link to get to that boot camp inside www.masteryweightloss.com/connect. And you'll find that link right there at the top. There's 4 different buttons you can click there. 1 to get in my boot camp, 1 to subscribe to my YouTube channel, 1 to connect with me on Facebook, and lastly, 1 to book a free strategy call with me so I can help you unpack your next steps moving forward. Get into my world, connect with me. Love to, even if we just get on a Zoom call and kind of exchange what God is doing in each other's lives. Let's do it. Love to connect, love to network. My quote for today is simple. So I'm not sure if I can pronounce this name. It's from, Rudolf Steiner, I believe it is. And his, the quote that I'm doing is, "The soul lives in the sound, and sound exists to awaken the soul."
Oh, I love that, Ken. That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'll just quickly go through these comments here, the final comments here before I share how people can connect with me. Thank you so much, everyone who's joined us live. Now, Corinda says, Aldwyn, you need a sponsor for your show. Yes, Corinda, we do invite sponsors to come and join us. We do have some great supporters of our shows. We have Tester Power has always been very generous. Thank you to Jeff Tester and Tester Power. They always donate very generously to our people. And also Red Peacock Cosmetics. I'm actually wearing one of the lipsticks right now. Vegan lipstick. I've got about 1,000 products in the range. So huge thank you to Rita Barbagallo for Red Peacock Cosmetics, one of our sponsors. And we invite more. So if you would like to sponsor our shows and get a special mention, whether it's Media Queen TV or Total Truth Show, then reach out. I think that's a great idea, Corinda. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Appreciate that.
Is it tested on plants?
Is it tested on plants? Good question.
How in the world do you test lipstick on plants? I've got to see that, because a plant does not have lips. So how does that work?
That's a great question. Maybe we'll see if Rita can pop something in the chat about that later. It's vegan. All I know is a vegan lipstick range, vegan makeup. So not tested on animals. Definitely not tested on animals. Okay, so what else have we got here? Oh, Corinda says, oh, there we go. That's why I love Total Truth Show, because we are real professional streamers. Yes, we are. Thank you, Corinda. We are professional streamers.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Streamers or streamers?
Streamers.
Don't mind any typos, because we all make them.
We do. So we've shared how you can connect with Ken and Leith. And for those who want to connect with me, pop along to linktree/Aldwyn. That's linktr.ee/Aldwyn. In there, you will find my media website where you can get 5 top tips to gain TV exposure. There are some wonderful people who work in traditional media, as well as all the propaganda and everything out there as well. It's just finding the right media to share your story with. And there's a lot of inspiring media out there too. And that's what I'm really about, is getting more good news stories out into the mass media to help lift the energy on the planet and help to decrease depression and suicide rates. And you will also see linked there the Global Good News Challenge, which is free marketing for you. It's a free live video challenge every month that you can do on social media, where you can share gratitude and good news. You will feel amazing. People who see your videos will feel amazing, and you'll be doing a great job to have a more healing, joyful experience of life by doing the Global Good News Challenge. So highly recommend that you check that out there. And connect with me if you want to find out more about our retreat coming up 10th to 12th of April here on the Gold Coast at Hippocrates Centre in Mudgeeraba. And that's all it there. And then some quotes for you. I've got 2 quotes to share. Sound healing isn't making noise, it's making connection. That's the first quote. And the other quote is, every thought you think makes a sound that vibrates. So if you want to live a harmonious life, make sure your thoughts play the right notes.
That's powerful. Yeah. That's good.
There's a melody going on there.
Yes, there is. Thank you so much, Leith, for being our special guest. It's been an absolute pleasure on our show.
It's been great being here. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you,
and thank you, Pete, for being so willing to answer like all my questions, because I feel like, especially at the start of the show, I came at you with a whole bunch of stuff. So thank you.
I was actually just processing it at that point, but all of a sudden a flood of information came, and it was we're in exactly the right place we need to be.
Perfect.
Yay. And this is your very first StreamYard live show as well, Leith. Yay. Well done. Yes. Well done. Awesome. You've already got another interview request from this show. So definitely connect with our amazing Corinda on Empowerment Extend show. He's based in the UK, and that is a really cool show as well. So you'll love that one with Sarah.
Yep.
So there you go. Out there and look at the ripple effect of change that can come from that. Thank you so much. Also, everyone who's joined us live or replay, let us know in the comments. Are you joining live? Put live. Are you joining on the replay? Pop replay in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this today, please share the love. Make sure you like our Total Truth Show page on Facebook. Check us out on Spotify. Review the show on Spotify. That'd be really cool. And share the love. Share the love. Let's get some more sound healing out there. And let's get more conscious to living a more empowered life as well. Sending you much love. Thank you once again. We'll see you again next time on Total Truth Show. Bye for now. Bye.